everyone, so I'm just doing another test of a product today, and I thought I would bring you guys along for the ride. I'm testing out a new foundation today, which I am very excited about because of the hype it gets, but also incredibly nervous at the same time, like I am when I try out most foundations for the first time. So my skin is freshly washed and moisturised. Not too much to mention in terms of spots or anything. I've got a healing one here, got some scarring, some sort of dark spot pigmentation issues, which is always there, and then my usual lovely chin area. So I'm just running straight into doing this because we're on our way out. I hope everyone's well, but let's just dive into the product. So this is what I'll be testing today. This is the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation and Concealer, and this is in the shade Alabaster number 2. It was the lightest I could find in this sort of quite handy size. I'm kind of terrified of it already because I'm worried I'm going to use way too much. The only thing I've done so far is I've swatched it just to make sure before I chuck this on my face that it's going to be an okay colour, because I was a bit worried it might be a bit dark, but I think when you put it on it does lighten or something. It does initially seem dark, but then it lightens. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Let's just zoom you in. Okay, and I'll probably be looking this way a fair bit because that's where my mirror is. So let's take it out. It's got this enormously scary doe foot applicator, and apparently that one amount should be enough for my whole face. So we will see about that. Oh my god! I'm not going to bother putting primer on because I really want to test it to see how it does on its own. Not quite sure how to use this, so let's just go. Let's go on the back first because there's an awful lot of product on the front. So I think I'm just going to try and spread this about as best as possible. I mean, this does seem to be a lot here. I'm just going to try and get as much off the wand or the tip as possible. Just to see if that was enough for a full face. Okay, so there's not much coming off. Oh, got a little bit more there. I mean, the only thing is I do bring foundation right down my neck, so it's a bit more than a full face. Okay, I'm really not getting anything more of that, so I'm going to pop that back in, and now I'm going to blend it out using my Zoeva 104 buffing brush. I think that's all blended okay. It blended alright. It's a little bit hair on my nose, dog hair. It's a little bit harder to blend, and I think that's just purely because it's the concealer and foundation in one, so it is a much thicker consistency. I'm just going to check in a mirror up close just to see how that's gone on. It seems to have blended really nicely actually. I don't know how well this is showing up on screen. I'm back in my old filming location just purely because it's a bit easier to do this kind of video, and also it's the weekend and my husband and son are kind of running around the rest of the house. I think I did okay shade wise as well actually. I was a bit nervous because usually I'm the palest, or one of the palest. And there's 2 shades lighter than this, Linen and Breeze. I think I'm going to go around and do a little bit of concealing. I think it's done, the one swipe looked like it was enough, but it doesn't look too bad. So I'm just going to do some spot concealing. It's taken a lot out on that, but you can't really scrape it back in again. I'll try, I don't want to waste it. There, I sort of managed that. And I try it on my dark spots, which didn't cover up too well first time around. What I quite like about this is the fact that you're getting a pretty good idea of how much product to use, and the fact that you're just taking it out the once and not having to re-dip. But a little bit definitely does go a long way. I think I might leave my chin area to last for a minute, so I'm just going to leave the wand out and try patting. It's not done the most amazing job of covering up those pigmentation issues there, but it's definitely not made them look so bad. Two areas that I'm really intrigued about how it covers is the under eye area, because apparently you can use it as an under eye concealer, and the chin area. So I think we'll go for under eyes first. It's a bit scary because you don't really want to use too much. I'm going to try and share this around a little bit. It'd be amazing to find a product that kind of does everything. Foundation and concealer. That would just make going anywhere so straightforward. It does seem to have blended nicely under the under eye area. Very dry to very oily skin as well, so that's always interesting when it promises to cover a broad spectrum. Has someone cracked it? Has someone created the perfect foundation and concealer? It does feel quite hydrating when you put it on. I mean, so far, I don't think that's looking too bad at all, really. Now for the demon chin area, I think I'm just going to pick up a little bit more. I got a good colour in it. It doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad. Let's do the other side. the nasal shot. But you know, there may be other people who have similar issues to me that want to know how well it covers other areas, so right, I think that's all blended. Let's just have a look to see if it's creased. Yeah, it's creased fairly badly. So I'll just mop that up, because that always happens to me. It'll just be interesting to see if it continues to do it throughout the day. There we are from a distance. From my point of view, it's looking pretty decent. It feels a bit heavy and tacky, and I was really careful trying not to use too much. So anyway, I'll finish the rest of my makeup and I will come back. Okay, so there's the rest of my hair and makeup done. I've put powder on the top, my usual powder, which is this one from Bourjois, the Healthy Balance. I would have loved to have left it on its own to see how it managed everything, but my skin just felt really tacky and just sticky, and I felt like I needed to put something on top, so I've just lightly powdered on top, and I'll see how it wears throughout the day. I think colour wise it seems to look okay. I'm glad I didn't go too much lighter because I think it might have been too light, and I think it has done a pretty good job of concealing. I mean, I know I'm probably never going to find something that is completely amazingly perfect, but it's not actually looking too bad at the moment. So I will check in with you guys later and we'll see how it's wearing then. Hi everyone, so I just thought I'd quickly check back in with you. I forgot to mention earlier that I put this foundation on, it was about 8:30 this morning, and it's just gone 12:30, so I thought that was quite a good amount of time just to check in and see how it's doing. In terms of how it feels, it's definitely settled down a lot compared to when I first put it on. It's kind of dried down a little bit more. It felt really quite tacky when I first put it on, which was a bit off-putting. But I did powder and, you know, it all seemed to be okay. I've not actually looked in the mirror at all yet. So I'm just going to try and rely on my phone screen. It has creased a little bit under the eyes, so I'm not sure if I'd necessarily bother with using this for the under eye area. I can never get anything to work with glasses, but not worried about that. Still seems to be hanging in there pretty well. Coverage still seems to be quite good. It doesn't feel too bad. I was worried it was going to be quite heavy because that's kind of initially how it was feeling, with it feeling quite tacky. But I think it's wearing okay, and I think the colour isn't doing too badly either. Let's just see if I can get a little bit better light. In terms of oiliness, it's slightly tacky to the touch, but really nothing to write home about, so I would say it's controlling oil really nicely. So yeah, so far so good. Pretty impressed with this. Hi everyone, so just checking in again. We've just been out for the afternoon and evening with friends. We've had quite a busy day today, and they invited us to a barbecue at their new venture, which is an amazing vineyard. How cool is that? And look at the view. In terms of the foundation, not oily at all. It's been on now for about 11 hours, I think. And I did have to retouch it up a little bit in terms of it settling into some pores, but that blended out fairly easy just with the brush going over the top again. But in terms of coverage, it's a bit difficult to see in this light, but it seems to be okay. I'll probably be able to tell a bit better once I get home, but I just couldn't resist checking in with you here because how amazing is that? Hi everyone, so this is my final check-in for this foundation. I've had it on for about 12 hours now, The sun is just sort of starting to set over there, so I don't know how good the lighting is. I've not really had much of a chance to look in the mirror because, like I said, we've been out at a friend's having a barbecue, and yeah, let's have a look, see how it's done. So I've got a bit of shininess on my nose. Sorry if I sound a bit stuffy, it's my hay fever, it's just gone a bit mad. But it seems to have done really quite well, actually. It did settle into my pores a little bit, so I did have to kind of blend those bits back out again, but it came out okay.
I got a horsey.
Oh, got a horsey. And it's, after a couple of times having to sweep it out from under my eyes, it seems to be okay now. Oh, you've got your horsey. Hello, horsey. Right, so I've just zoomed you in a little bit just so you can see a little bit better. Like I said, I've got a bit of shininess on my nose and maybe a little bit here. My usual trouble area, which is up here, is actually fine, and it's really been tested today. We've had a really busy day today. Yeah, it's ever so slightly tacky, but it's not too bad at all. I think this has performed really well. Also, bearing in mind, I didn't actually try a primer at all because I just wanted to see how well it performed on its own. And it's done really well. You can still see a little bit of blush. In terms of concealing, it still seems to have concealed quite well. Some of my darker areas are starting to show through a little bit. I'm not sure if that's showing up at all. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how this performs with a decent primer underneath. So next time I'll try it with that. But certainly for the moment, I think that this is a really good foundation, and for the price, I'm pretty impressed. So I think I'll give it some further testing and we'll see how it goes. It's certainly better than a lot of others that I've tried that are more expensive. It's controlled oil really well, the coverage was good, you don't need very much. It's a bit of an odd application, but I think that's just something you can get used to. So I think the next time I will try it with my usual primer. You can see that the sun has moved around, so I think I will end it here. I hope everyone's well, and I will see you next time. Bye.